You know, when you think of a multi-million-dollar industry, your mind probably goes to software or maybe manufacturing, but probably not this. And yet, in Minnesota, this humble, slimy little creature isn't just fish bait. Nope, it's the absolute cornerstone of a massive economic engine. And right now, that engine is seriously starting to sputter.
To really get why this is such a big deal, you have to understand Minnesota's fishing culture. See, catching walleye up there, it's practically a religion. And for generations, the one undisputed secret weapon to land the state's most prized fish has been a big, juicy leech. It's so much more than bait. It's tradition.
So, how in the world does a fishing tradition become a gold mine? Well, let's break down the business of it all.
The absolute star of this show is this specific species, the ribbon leech. And we're not talking about some small niche market here. We're talking about an entire supply chain. Trappers, wholesalers, every single bait shop from Duluth to Alexandria, all of it built on this one creature. It's the engine of the whole bait economy in the Midwest, no question about it.
And just look at the price tag on these things. Anglers will happily pay a premium. $8 a dozen is pretty standard. But for the really prized jumbos, you're looking at $15, maybe more. And on a huge fishing weekend like the 4th of July, oh yeah, those prices can climb even higher.
So why this specific leech? I mean, what makes it worth so much? Well, it all boils down to one critical biological fact. The ribbon leech is a predator, not a bloodsucker. It literally lacks the jaws to bite a person. And that right there, that's its million-dollar selling point.
This one simple difference, bait versus bloodsucker, it creates two totally separate, totally different worlds.
So on one side, you've got the bait leech, a harmless scavenger, totally safe for anglers and regulated by the Department of Natural Resources, the DNR. On the other side, you've got the medical leech, a true bloodsucker with 3 sharp jaws, and it's regulated by the FDA. They might live in the very same ponds, but believe me, they operate under completely different rulebooks. And the economic difference between the two is just staggering. The bait market is a volume game. You sell a lot of leeches for about $1 a pop. The medical market, it's the complete opposite. It's a low-volume, high-value game, where a single leech can go for up to $25. So, what happens if a bait shop accidentally sells the wrong one? It's a total catastrophe. You've just broken the single most important promise to your customer, that this thing is safe to handle. The result is instant disgust and, as you can see here, a destroyed reputation. It's the kind of mistake that could absolutely ruin a business overnight.
But there's a much bigger problem looming. This entire industry, it's built on a wild resource, and that resource is simply vanishing.
This is the number that has the entire industry on edge. According to the state's DNR, the wild leech harvest has dropped by nearly 70%. That's not a dip, that's a collapse.
This timeline really puts it in stark perspective, doesn't it? Before 2009, the industry was doing great. It was thriving. But ever since then, it has been in a steady, terrifying decline. The very foundation of this whole business is crumbling.
So what's causing all this? Well, there's no single bad guy here. Instead, experts are pointing to a kind of a perfect storm of factors. You've got potential overharvesting, you've got habitat being destroyed, runoff from agricultural pesticides, and of course, the broader effects of climate change.
The one silver lining, if you can call it that, is that the state's regulators aren't just sitting back and watching this happen. The Minnesota DNR has officially acknowledged that, yes, this is a crisis, and now they're pointing the entire industry toward a radically different future.
So if you can't harvest them from the wild anymore, well, what's the next logical step? Can you farm them?
But raising leeches is, well, it's anything but simple. It's a really delicate science. You have to build a special kind of hybrid environment, carefully manage all the water chemistry, create a safe little nursery, and somehow master their very, very peculiar reproductive cycle.
And this right here, this is the single biggest, most fascinating challenge in leech farming. See, they don't lay their eggs in the water. They have to physically leave the water, find damp soil just above the waterline, and deposit a cocoon there. If that cocoon gets submerged, it's game over. So what does this mean? It means any successful farm has to have an artificial shoreline. It is a non-negotiable biological imperative.
Okay, so even if you solve the habitat problem, you run smack into another huge logistical nightmare: food. You can't just go out and buy a bag of leech chow. Without a standardized feed, farmers are stuck using really complicated and costly things like raw liver, which makes it incredibly difficult to scale up in operation.
And of course, all of this has to happen under the very watchful eye of the DNR. Anyone in the leach business, wild or farmed, has to navigate this whole web of regulations, from getting special licenses to following strict rules designed to stop the spread of aquatic invasive species, or AIS. Which brings us to the final and really the most crucial question. The wild harvest is vanishing, but the cultural demand for leeches is stronger than ever. Can science and farming really step in and replace what nature provided for generations? Can a man-made solution save this cherished Minnesota tradition? The entire future of this slippery gold rush hangs in the balance.